Blog Talk Radio.
All right. Welcome to Superhero Academy. This is your host, Crossfire the Crusader, trying out a new theme song this week. I hope that wasn't too static. I hope that was some static on my end. How does that sound to y'all? At any rate, I want to go ahead and welcome everybody to the show today. I hope you like the theme song. Thank you for going to Black.
I need to go back to the bench. I can't hear here. Hello? Hello, sir. How are you doing?
Quite well. How are you doing today?
And unknown caller here. So who all I've got on the line? I've got Captain Black, myself, and I'm assuming Phoenix Jones.
Yes, sir. This is me.
And I have one other caller. Who have I got here? Area code 732.
We got Toothy and
Showstopper, hi.
All right. Very good to have everybody here. I do want to start out the show before we get into talking about things. I do want to go ahead and just kind of make a mention that anybody in the community that hasn't already heard, the White Skull, a caller to the show, a regular on our chat room here, passed away this past. He was having surgery to have a brain tumor removed and out of surgery. And I just want to send out condolences on behalf of myself and the program and our listeners to his family. It's always proved to be a very intelligent conversation before you hear off the show and the chat room and the blog. Just for every 6 minutes doing it, it's recognized. So, give our got some feedback from somebody here. Who's I got?
Hey, can I interrupt for a second? Can I interrupt for a second? I don't know if it's just my phone that's doing this because it's kind of rainy here, or is it everyone else having problems hearing it?
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to mute you, and I think I have lost Mr. Jones here from the static.
Wow.
So it's not just me then?
No, Captain Black is still here.
Captain Black, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Jones, I see
Yeah,
you back here.
everybody. If there's any background noise on my end, I'm, of course, in world-famous Canal Street in New Orleans.
I think I've been there, too.
And I just called back in. I'm on a different phone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
I can hear
loud
you.
and clear.
All right, this will be much better for me. Sorry about that, guys.
All right, now, I've Mr. Jones of Phoenix, what would you prefer I call you, PJ?
anything you want, you know. As long as you're not calling me names, I'm happy.
Well, you know, I've read all the articles, I've heard all the hype, I have danced around all the drama being on the forums and the Facebook and everything, and I wanted to set this up because I want to meet the man. I want to meet the person. Avoid any drama. Anybody calls in doing drama, I will send you away to Never Land. I will transfer you to another radio show or something. We don't want.
Can I bring up something real quick?
Go ahead.
Can I bring up something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, Toby.
Okay.
Well,
someone was asking.
Let me clarify first.
You replied to it already on the Facebook group. Someone was saying, didn't he get something like his ass kicked? And I was saying you should probably ask him himself. I don't know if Phoenix wanted to answer that here about like what really happened, because people always ask other people the questions of like.
No, absolutely. There's a lot of clarification, you know, that needs to happen.
I figured they should probably ask you because you can explain it better than someone else can. Because you told me this story too.
Here's the thing about that. So, did I get my ass kicked? Absolutely not. But have I got beat up on the streets? Absolutely. When you go after real criminals, I mean, you don't always win. But the goal is if they're beating me up, they're certainly not beating up average citizens or anyone who didn't come out with body armor on. I mean, if someone's going to get shot, I'm probably the guy that should get shot. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right.
And what happened with the nose break incident is I took a guy down, and I called 911, and I held him in position, and the cops didn't show up for 20 minutes. And the guy ended up kicking me in the nose and breaking my nose when the other guy pulled out a gun. But the beginning of that story is the guys were in the parking lot robbing people who got back to their car. So if someone has to get their nose broken or someone has to be held at gunpoint, I guess I'm that guy.
Exactly. Now I've heard a lot of the stories. I've heard your origin. You actually had some really good media coverage, and you and I shared the distinction with you and the guy, man, probably the worst written article ever. That was horrible. I'm like, oh God, please tell me that's not my picture, you know. But I want to know first off, just a simple question: how did you come up with the name Phoenix Jones? What made you choose that moniker?
You know, someone has a lot of background noise, so it's making it hard to hear.
Let me try to mute for you.
I put my phone on mute. You can hear me, so.
Okay.
I think it's your background. I'm hearing Kevin. Right.
There we go. You know, I did want to clarify one thing when I was on your radio show, and I want to make sure I got a chance to touch on this. Basically, this is a community show. Everybody from the superhero community listens to this show, and I feel like they need to know where I stand on real-life superheroes and what I feel about homeless outreach and what I feel about crime fighting. I think that's a component that has really been a wedge in the relationship between me and other real-life superheroes.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely go ahead and let's hear what that was one of the areas I was going to get to, but go ahead. I'll think what you have to say on that.
So, you know, as everybody knows, I'm a comic book guy. I think a lot of us are. And when you read comic books, there's no comic books about guys walking out and handing food to homeless people. Now, in the same breath, I go and I work at a soup kitchen. I hand out a ton of food to homeless people, and I do some of that in my suit. But I feel like the suit is not a necessary component for that. I feel sometimes it actually puts a wedge between you and the person. I've walked around the streets before handing food out to homeless people with my regular face, and the impression that I give them, I feel, is a lot stronger. The message doesn't come across to the people watching this the same, but to the people that you're helping, I feel like it's much easier to get that one-on-one connection with them. When it comes to crime fighting, the mask is 100% necessary because you have to protect your identity. And when you start coming after actual criminals that want to hurt you, the last thing you need to do is expose your friends and your family to your life choices. And I feel like if you don't have a bulletproof vest and you don't have a secret identity and you are out there going head-to-head with real criminals, I feel like it's not fair to your family and it's not fair to your friends. And that's where my beef with the real-life superhero community has come. And I felt like if I separated myself from the community and people thought of Phoenix Jones as a crime fighter, not as a real-life superhero, that I would be potentially protecting other superheroes who have their identities out in the open, that people don't just come and attack them for no reason.
Well, this is Captain Black. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Okay. That's a very good point. When I started doing this a few years ago, I kind of adopted the guardian angels approach, which is my identity isn't hidden, and of course my folks are dead, so there's no real threat of retaliation. But it makes a very good point. Whenever you start intervening and injecting yourself into situations, you have to factor in the potential for retaliation. You know, to do otherwise is really kind of fantasizing. And even though, you know, we do stretch reality with this creative activism we do, it's still grounded in some very real and sometimes disturbingly real possibilities.
Absolutely. You know, and I think the other thing that people need to really grasp a hold of is the frequency of the RCSM's patrols versus the frequency of other people's patrolling. You know, we're out there. At any given night, there's one member of the RCSM on the street 7 nights a week. 5 nights a week, we've got guys who are in teams patrolling. But I've got, you know, guys who work downtown, guys who only go out Saturday, Sunday by themselves, guys who are spotters. You know, I have informants that are homeless people that talk to me and tell me what to do when I give them food and stuff. It's a big procedure. So when you're out 7 days a week, you find crime more often. People are telling me, oh, you must be making it up or you must be lying. It's not that. It's that I'm literally in the streets every day. I'm in the streets the same as my work schedule. I'm in the streets at least probably 40 hours a week with my team. If you add everyone on my team, we're at least doing 40 hours a week. And that's why we're seeing some.
Now, this is the difference. This is Captain Black. The difference between what I call suburban crime fighting and urban crime fighting. The neighborhoods where I grew up and places like where I'm standing right now, Canal Street, incident rich. Yesterday, me, 3 brothers and a policeman stopped a gentleman who was beating not only his girlfriend, but their baby. Now, this may be atypical in some locations, but in a lot of our distressed urban centers, it's a daily occurrence. So wherever your venue is, like Phoenix said, and whatever your frequency, that can determine what you come across and what you in turn report to the community.
No, definitely. When I first started running the motel at Pine Bluff, I took it over. It was a crack house, and it was an incident at least 2-3 times a day, and it took 7 months to reach a point where we would go several days without something happening. It was, like you said, incident rich, and of course, when we quickly develop a reputation, my reputation even preceded me to Hot Springs when we relocated, because they knew who I was. They knew that I didn't take any nonsense, and you know, I had people call me by my street name over here. Like, I didn't know that name, you know. And then, of course, after I got over there was one they had with prevent murder. So, you know, where I work right now, very rare that something happens. Last night I had an animal get in the building. It's the first incident I've had this week. This place, 2 times a day that I would be out for night meetings, somebody out of the room or police out of the fight or whatever, and things civil. So, you know, where you control what you do, there's a lot of difference in what you're going to do.
Yeah. And another factor that we all need to kind of figure out too, which is a little different, right? Is this is the last solely Phoenix Jones comment I wanted to make sure I got in. I feel like if I get all these out of the way, that I'll be able to have a more open conversation with you guys and not worry about making sure I get them in later. You know.
Okay.
The last thing I want to talk about, I'm getting background noise again, but I want to talk to you guys about media. And people are accusing me and accusing my team of being media whores or in the media spotlight. And I sort of feel like it's sort of a ridiculous statement to say a guy walking around in a suit is not trying to get attention. I mean, why did anyone pick up the suit and go out there and fight crime and not just put on a ski mask and do it and be completely anonymous? It's because a message without a carrier is nothing. I mean, if your mail just showed up every single day, there'd be no form for the post office, the post system. But the reason for it is you need a carrier. You need somebody who can be a spokesman for that message. All we did is do the same work everyone else is doing. We amped it up a little bit with the interactions and the danger level, and threw a camera on it, and basically had proof of our actions. But it wasn't to get media attention or be famous. It was to be a spokesperson for the message because people were missing it. You know, before my team came around, I really feel like people were missing the fact that a guy in a gold and black suit should not be able to walk around the city and find people being assaulted. It's absurd. The idea of wearing that suit and walking around and finding crime is ridiculous. And I think it took someone to really get out there and get beat up a couple times to really say, look, this shit's real.
We have another caller. Area code 617. You're on Superhero Academy. Who do I have?
Hi, this is Basilisk.
Hey, Basilisk, one of my regulars. Thanks for calling me. We're here with Phoenix Jones. Some easy questions.
Hey, Phoenix.
Hey, how you doing?
I just want to give you major props for what you've been doing. With my due respect to Toasty and Captain Black and all those on, especially Crossfire.
All right.
And I just want to say, we're all here basically with all the same. Even though we all have different ideas, different styles, different ways of doing it, we're all here for the same philosophy: helping people, caring about one another, and that's all I care about: helping one another. And basically, I know you and me both go on that same mindset, and basically, I think we're basically all family. So it's superheroes
a little,
so we're all far apart.
A little backstory on me. A little backstory on me and you that people don't know. I was actually having a really rough day on Facebook one time. A lot of my friends had unfriended me and started calling me names and stuff, and it was when the first junk in the community started. And me and Basilisk had talked on the phone for about an hour, and he actually talked me out of basically just, completely excommunicating myself from the community, deleting my Facebook, logging out Real Life Superheroes, the entire thing, and just going dark, basically. So me and him have a weird history like that, but I really appreciate it. It was a time when I really needed someone to talk to, and that guy, he came to my help, so I appreciate it.
Hey, I'm always there for you. You know that.
Thanks, brother.
You're welcome. I'll be right. I'm gonna go, but have a good day, everybody.
You too.
There's a few things I'd like to know. First off, I'd like to know now that all the biggest issues are aside, what did you actually? What possessed you to take the name Phoenix Jones? I mean, I was telling my son-in-law that I was going to interview Phoenix Jones, and immediately he thought of that artist.
Well, it's funny. Phoenix is a bird that rises from the ashes. It's always reborn. But in Egyptian mythology, the phoenix is the bird of protection. It's the bird that doesn't worry about laying its life down to protect the people of Egypt because it can always be reborn. The message always continues, and I really, really like that. And Jones is the most common last name the year that I was born, so I feel like it's for the message is always reborn, and it's for the common person. And when I stuck them together, I knew that's what it would be.
Now, the silly question that I asked Red Dragon about this a while back. When I look at your picture, did you actually still wear the ski mask underneath your costume?
It got really ridiculously smelly, so I had to exchange it and get a new ski mask. But the old one is framed in my house, so I still have it.
I always wondered why is that just a personal, like an inspirational type reason, or is it like the mask? You need something between you and that rubber mask? Why do you do that?
It's one of these weird things, but I know it's going to sound strange to everybody, but it's hard to step out and do something where you put yourself in danger. When you look at what you could lose your family, you could lose your life, you could lose your kids, and to me that mask symbolizes that loss. Because when that guy hurt my son, he made it real to me that my family's in danger. Maybe not directly, but we live in a city where people are doing this, and my family's in danger, and I'm tired of just standing around. And then every time I put the mask on and I feel it on my face, I remember he felt the same way when he decided to hurt me. And I'm going to feel the same way when I decide to hurt them.
Honestly, I don't think it's silly. We live in a world of spandex suits and high ideals. I don't think anything's really silly when you put it in that perspective.
That's how I feel. And I think that's part of the reason that people have called me a vigilante.
Yeah, well, Phoenix, how do you feel about guardian angels, mad dads, security dads, street patrols that are out there that don't necessarily cover their Y'all have to excuse me. Somebody's trying to get some attention on this bicycle. Let me move down a little further. But what's your opinion of the guardian angels and street patrols of that nature?
You know, you have to look at the timeline of things. You know, I when I first started my group, we came up with the Guardians of Seattle, and that's what we were going to go with. And the thing is, when the Guardian Angels came out, the only people who were wearing uniforms were gangs. You were red, you were blood, you were blue, you were Crip. You had any kind of matching uniform, you were a gang. So when they all threw on their berets and white shirts, they became the symbol of what a gang was at that time, what danger was. And they flipped it on its head and made it positive. So at that time, that was a super suit. You know, nowadays you walk around in a beret, no one's going to pay any attention. But you walk around in a super suit, you've now done the same thing. You've changed what people thought was fake and made it real. You've made something that they believed in, the symbol they already understand, and made it, boom, it's in your face, it's real. And that's what the Guardian Angels did. They had super suits, they just didn't have to use the rubber, brother.
Exactly. You actually jumped well ahead of me. You got I'm trying to think any other questions. Kevin, look, you got any other questions for Mr. Jones here?
Got a follow-up question, but it's time.
How about I got Tiltian still listening in online, just me, you, and Mr. Jones.
Showstopper here.
Yep.
What
me and Tiltian.
Yeah, one of the things I tell everybody on is that we get everybody on here. Everybody has something to teach and everybody has something to learn. You know, as long as you're still learning, you're still growing. As long as you teach what you've learned, you're helping other people grow. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to get you on here, because, you know, like I said, we want to sort through all the miles and miles of drama associated with some individuals and find out what's really underneath. That's just like mining for gold. So I'd just like to know a little bit, you know, when you started out, what would you do to get yourself ready to become Eddie Jones, and what would you advise somebody starting out brand new? What do you tell people when they want to join the team?
Well, it's kind of a funny thing. My origin was strongly misguided, and I've only recently come to accept the fact that it was strongly misguided. Because originally, I'm an all-or-nothing kind of guy. And being a professional fighter and having the skill set that I have and having the military friends I have, my original goal was to literally go out there and to beat the ever-loving crap out of every single criminal. Forget the law, forget calling 911, I'm going to beat some people up. And it took me a little bit to realize that that is not effective. It's vigilantism, it's illegal, it's not going to work, there's no message behind it. It took me a while. So I think that people need to be realistic when they approach this. If you want to be a real-life superhero, that's cool. Go for it, but be realistic, you know. Take on small goals, be realistic, you know, attack it in a way that you feel, be the most prepared that you can possibly be. I think what's wrong with this community is lack of preparation. People don't think what's going to happen, because what no one here has talked about is there's a lot of stories about me. There's stories about me getting stabbed. There's stories about me getting my nose broke. There's stories about me getting shot. But I'm still here standing and talking to you, which means I must have had some kind of contingency and plan for those. When I got stabbed, I had a personal doctor I could go to get stitched up. Never had to take the suit off. When I got shot, I knew exactly where to go and what to do. When I got my nose broke, I knew what radio and news people to call to make sure that people got out that there's a guy who broke a nose in Belltown, and this is the car he was driving, and they picked up the guy and arrested him. There's patterns and steps. And if you plan on going rogue out there by yourself without a team, you're foolish.
Good point. So there's a good counterpoint to what I call the Lone Ranger mindset that a number of people in the community have. And, again, that's everybody's choice, but a team, some sort of support structure makes sense.
No, it has to happen. You don't see military guys run out there with one guy. Even the SEAL team's got 5 dudes in it. It just makes sense. You know, random fact about me that no one knows. Well, I mean, a couple people might know, but it's certainly not public. Guess who my favorite real-life superhero was?
Who's that? Who?
My inspiration for starting with this, the thing that basically got me going is I was out there doing it with no shirt on and just a ski mask, the one that they broke into my car, and I looked it up. I wanted to go with the superhero theme, and I looked it up online, and I saw this video, Dark Guardian in a park, face to face with this like 6-foot-something drug dealer, just in his face, going to town on him, and I was so excited about it. I got me so hyped. I watched it like 150 times. I showed it to my girlfriend at the time, wife now. I mean, It was absurd. I was so excited. And now that's the guy that I think literally hates me the most. And it's funny how life comes full circle because he was, I don't want to say my inspiration for starting, but without that video, there would have been no suit. There would have just been the rogue Phoenix Jones guy with the ski mask on.
It's kind of crazy how some of that does come about, you know, the places you find, the places, the things that happen. I try to convince everybody, you know, one of the things that I've tried to convince everybody, you know, as far as drama, you know, yeah, it's going to happen. We had a years ago, we got a thing called Prima Donna. You know, put a lot of effort into creating and the business doing this, and they call it some of the, you know, drama. But always want to let's be forward. I know we had drama yesterday, but we're going to make the world a better place. Let's forget about yesterday's drama. Always expect a better thing.
Agreed. Can someone who's got that background noise mute up again? Sorry, you're just making a lot of noise on the radio.
I'm glad he's on patrol, he said. Or something.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. It's crazy how quick that background noise picks up. But yeah, it's, you know, as long as you can, you know, yeah, we're going to have tempers flare. We're going to, I mean, even in my missions, I've had people that I have butted heads with, and it's like you say, you know what, okay, yeah, we're going to move on. We're going to forget this happened. I'm not going to continue arguing because it's not productive. There's no reason to hate. There's no reason to be angry, especially like I told somebody the other day, I said, why does your life revolve around the actions of a person who's half a country away that you're never going to meet face to face unless you deliberately go out there, you know, and arrange something like that. So. Just move on and do stuff because, you know, if all you're doing is sitting on your computer desk or sitting on your butt on your couch watching TV and you're not doing anything productive, then, they're actually out doing something. They're out there fighting crime. They're out there handing out hand sandwiches to homeless. They're out there doing whatever. You know, if all they do is drive around and push broken down cars into parking lots, they're doing more than you're doing when you're sitting on a computer doing nothing.
You know what I think's funny too?
Unproductive. Drama's unproductive.
What's funny about this, though, to me, was the guys who had the biggest problem with me were the guys who were the most active in the community. Like not the most active like writing online or blogging, but they were the most active superheroes. They were the guys that I really needed to get advice from and really needed to get, I don't want to say guidance because I don't think I needed guidance, but I needed someone who's been there to say, hey, this is what I experienced. Because I got some new guys in my city now. I got Midnight Jack and Templar and a couple guys who came out because they saw me on TV. And when I saw what they were doing, walking around, driving their car with their actual license plate on it and driving into the city with no mask but then masking up, walking to their car and taking their mask off, when I saw stuff like that, I had to go, man, I've been there. Okay, this is how you do it. This is how you get your car registered to somebody else. This is how you do this. This is where you park, and this is what bus you take into the city. This is how you do it. And when I started doing that, I felt like, man, I wish someone would have reached out to me to do that, or spent the energy that it took to hate me to just even send me an email. I can't say nothing negative to you in an email. You just send me an email and say, hey, this is what I've learned. Blanket statement. At least I'd read it. I felt like no one really came out and reached out a hand and said, hey, let me help you, because they saw me on TV first and assumed that I was ignoring them when I didn't know they existed. I didn't know about RealLifeSuperheroes.org. I didn't know about all these other guys. I didn't know. All I knew was my city needed help, and I was going to help them. And I can't help how the news portrays that. I thought I was the only one. I was ecstatic when I found out there were others because I literally thought I was the only one.
Hey, guys, we're going ahead and go into the over theme, but I've got to go ahead and do my close out here for the people that are listening live. Like I said earlier, we are in the world of spandex suits and high ideals, so I remind everybody with the closing theme not to take yourself too seriously. Please stay online, guys, and we'll wrap this up in the after show and tease the next few weeks' shows.
We're men in light. We roam around the forest looking for light.
That's right.
We're men in time. We run from the rich and give to the poor, that's right. We may look like cities, but what would you say, or else we'll put out your light. We're men in light. Always on guard, defending the people's rights. La 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 la. We're men. We're men in time. We rob from the rich and give to the poor, that's right. We may look like candy, but don't get us wrong or else we'll flag them out. We're men in time, fight tight. Always on guard, defending the people's rights. When you're in a fix, it's always a man in time. We're much.
All right, we're off here. I'm sorry Sandman wasn't here to hear that. He loves that song.
Hey, wait.
Hello.
So when I was saying stuff, could people hear me?
You hear a little bit of it. When the song's playing, you can't really hear the mics too much.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
I was singing
Does the show
along with it.
continue on another half hour?
Oh, it's the after show.
Oh, you haven't.
It's not on the air. It's just.
Yeah, we're not going to hear
Oh,
anymore.
you're staying on the after show?
Yeah, we'll
I'm
get
gonna stay on.
15 minutes, though.
I'm going to stand for a little bit. I'm floating down. I'm floating down a river.
Right?
So.
At any rate, Phoenix, one of the things that I tell people, I get hit up a lot being the host of this show, and a lot of the new people hit me up and say, so what's my advice, Sam, RLSH, they're going to get into this, what do I tell them to do? Oh, you're going to find a need and find a way to fill that need, and do it yourself, and have fun while you do it. It's pretty simple. What that need is you have crime in your neighborhood, you have hungry people in your neighborhood, you have stray animals in your neighborhood, you get kids that walk the store, whatever that need is, find it and fill it. And what you've done is made the world a better place.
Nailed it.
Some way to protect the world. You need to hit the world like a runaway comet and make a difference. Whatever that is. And that's one of the things that as I've observed you over the past year, typically you have been a runaway comet, you've hit the world and impacted things. And of course, like I said before, that whole non effect pops up, and people say, that's not how I would have done it. I get the feedback again.
We got to mute up again. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing, but whoever makes the background noise, I really have a hard time hearing. I agree with you. I think that one of the things that people don't get, right, is that a lot of, now I'm not knocking people in the community either. I'm just stating what I've learned. A lot of them are not in a financially stable place or an emotionally stable place, so it makes it hard to fight crime. It's a lot easier when, like, I have a very mundane job when I work with autistic kids. It's really self-gratifying, but it's not that. It doesn't make a lot of money. But then when I fight, I make a lot of cash quick. So I'm able to do certain things, I would never go after a meth lab normally, but now I've got a bunch of bulletproof bat-shaped shields that, stop shotguns at point blanks and AKs. So now I've got this, I can do things I couldn't do before. I just bought pepper spray grenades to, grenade an entire house so I can get people in and out of the house if there's a problem. I mean, you have to have, do your level of involvement. Don't, just because I'm able to do things that other people aren't able to do, there's a lot of backstory, and a lot of superheroes are 90% backstory and 10% show. There's a lot of stuff that goes in here people don't know, Yeah.
It's, you cannot just, despite what you might see in the movies or read in the books, you can't just decide one day I'm going to be a superhero and then go out there and change the world overnight. It's a matter of preparation. It's a matter of determination. It's a matter of knowing what you're physically capable of doing and being willing to act when the opportunity presents itself. I tell everybody,
and maximizing the opportunity.
I'm a charity hero, but as hero support and a charity hero, I'm also one of the individuals in the community that has the distinction of having stopped crimes. I've stopped a store robbery. I've spent several months of my life dealing with crackheads and prostitutes and pimps and troublemakers that were overrunning a place, and I've actually stopped a murder. I've done it because I was at the right place at the right time and willing to act, not because I was going out, looking for the trouble. Because when trouble I've met the cause. Go out. I'm going to walk on the streets, and I'm going to make sure everybody on these streets are safe, and they do within their capability. Now, I'm sorry, but nobody here who came from the planet Krypton, they were not shot here as a baby. You cannot make the entire city crime-free one night flying around in a spandex suit. I don't care who you are. Christopher Reeves couldn't do it. You can't do it. It's not real, But
I agree.
For the time, it's like a starfish story. throw the starfish back in the water one at a time. I made a difference there. I made a difference there.
You know, I hate to. I'll admit it because there's only a few of us on the phone right now. But I have purposely crafted. I don't want to say. I have to think the right way to put this. I have purposely done certain things, stopped certain crimes in certain ways to maximize people's response to how the crime was stopped. As long as someone's life was not in danger. Do you know what I mean? And I think that, you know, for a good example of that is the guy with the gun. When I ran into the parking lot, he was facing the other direction. And I could have very easily come up behind him, bopped him on the back of the head, and took the gun away, right? But I wanted it to be very clear what the message was. So I came around the corner of him and got right in his face. And I said, you know what, I'm a superhero. I said, your bullets don't mean anything to me, and get the fuck out of the parking lot. Which puts myself, you know, in the line of fire. Not that intelligent, but there were 150 videos of it. You sent to the news. So, you know what I mean? And that, you know, it blew up like crazy.
I didn't hear you, Captain Black. What did you say?
Oh, no, I said great psychological ploy.
Absolutely.
If you make a man with a gun frightened, you put him at a definite disadvantage.
Absolutely, because I didn't know who had guns. I knew there were three of them and one guy showing. I didn't know the other guys didn't have guns. And immediately the attention was directed on me, and a couple guys pulled out cameras, you know, from the videos in the apartment buildings, but everyone else ran out of the parking lot, and it was just me and those three guys before the fight started. And I got, like I said, I took out two, got the one guy on the ground, and then the other guys came back with the gun, and that's when I got my nose broken. But in all of that scuffle, no one shot me, which I think is, you know, people don't realize the gravity of that. No one shot me because they were confused on my response to the lack of guns, being scared of their guns. They were confused by that. And other people who thought were empowered by it.
If you watch the video that came out on HBO last week, the superheroes movie,
Absolutely,
I don't know if you've seen that. One of the things
yes, I have.
Still haven't seen it yet.
Stanley mentioned somebody that was an inspiration to me as a child. It was Captain Sticky. And probably one of the sillier individuals you'd ever see. The guy was two of me big. He was a huge man, and he wore this big suit and shiny, flashy, typical Captain Front kind of looking at the shoulder and everything. He drove, we called it Sticky Mobile, which was a big trick Cadillac, and he had a tater gun that he had converted to shoot Twinkies. And see, he was really silly, but he would pull up in front of it like a slow mower to turn off people's water or something like that, and he would pull up in front of their house and sit there in his costume. He'd call the media, and he would stand there with a bullhorn and holler at them until they showed up and until they turned around and turned the water back on and quit harassing tenants. This is a guy that didn't fight crime, but he's responsible for laws being on the books that deal with nursing home patient abuse, that deal with the conditions in animal shelters, that deal with the amount of sugar in milk. And you're looking at a guy that found an issue and found a way to fight it. This style has fun. And he did it right there in the media. He was on national TV on a show called Real People several times. That's how I became familiar with him and realized that, you know, somebody could do silly stuff like this, you know. And, you know, you said it yourself. I said, this is silly. It's ridiculous that, you know, somebody would feel the need to do this, but at the same time, it's effective.
Absolutely. You know, I got a hold of a tape from one of my friends who's a police officer of the police meeting they had about me, and the mayor had a really legitimate point. The mayor said, we're not on air right now, so I can use the real words, right? The mayor. Okay, well I'll be more political, but the mayor basically looked at him and said, "You effing idiot." He said, "There's some idiot on TV in a golden rubber suit walking around in broad effing daylight, and he's stopping muggers and carjackers and gun criminals, and you're driving around with backup radios and 150 squad cars, and you guys can't find anybody." He's like, from now on, everyone on patrol is walking 1 hour around the city. Park your car and walk for an hour. This is ridiculous. And it was one of those total win moments for me because I stopped patrolling that area. Because to this day, there's 6 or 7 cops, and each of them have to walk an hour of their shift. So I'm almost obsolete in that area. But that's good. You know, if the city didn't need me, I wouldn't walk around.
Because you were serious. and it got publicized, it caused them to increase their volume of service. Because remember, they're public servants. I'm a big supporter of good cops, but like a lot of political institutions, only do as much as the pressure upon them dictates they do.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, I would much rather see a police department tell them that I need you an hour on the ground with your feet on the sidewalk than say I need to see 6 tickets today. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just thought it was one of those funny things because, you know, the mayor has my support in this city because our mayor in this city is out of control awesome. He went after a website that has child pornography and basically said no one in the city who gets city funding will cut it if you pay anybody anything to advertise in this magazine, anything like that. We'll freaking cut it. He went after the police department and said everybody's pension is on the line if this crime rate doesn't drop. Period, because it's your guys' fault. He's been like super on point. Now I don't feel like he'll get reelected, but I do feel like he's amazing.
But
and
you know,
when I'm
surprised, people are tired of feeling like hostages in their communities. Like I said, my area of operations is usually inner city neighborhoods and then urban downtown areas, and people are sick of feeling like hostages.
Yeah, they're tired of it. You know, I think it's great. Belltown is Belltown is the area I normally walk around in, and there's a bunch of like 50-year-old men and women who got together and formed Belltown Citizens on Patrol. They wear yellow vests and flashlights and walk around and call in crime. And I went to patrol with them, and I showed up, and every one of them knew my name, shook my hand, was excited to see me, and I was like, what is happening? And they basically told me, they're like, yeah, we saw you doing it, and we realized, you know, it's kind of dumb that you're out here doing it when you don't even live here. I mean, so we decided we'd do it.
Yeah, that's the kind of coalition building that I always focus on. You know, everybody doesn't have to be super creative and inventive like us, but everybody needs to be active according to whatever his comfort level and his competency is.
Absolutely, and these citizens are showing it. And I'm speaking with the mayor. I'm speaking with the mayor on the 35th about crime.
45 so now, they are the 50-year-olds.
I got about 3 minutes here, and I want to ahead and kind of touch on the next couple of weeks' shows. I want to thank you for coming on here and being so honest and open. I feel like we did a better interview here than any of them I've heard so far. Because we let you talk instead of just trying to get some sound clips that we could twist. So I was glad to have you on here, and look forward to hearing more from you and the Rain City Superhero movement down the road.
Yes, sir. Talk to you guys later. Phoenix out.
Next week, we've
have
got
fun, be safe.
We're going to have the return of Artista Roy, and we were supposed to talk about the Iron Red project, but instead what we're going to do is discuss the project that I proposed to him, how to turn a mini-storage unit into a fully functioning superhero headquarters. We're going to discuss that. Master Legend recently did this, among others, and so that's going to be a little bit of fun. On the 4th of September, we're going to have the Eye, who's going to be with us, talking about Neighborhood Watch programs. On September 11th, we're going to have Valerie Finnegan from Heroes Fallen Studio back, celebrating Patriot Day and talking about the stories behind the book Real Tales from 9/11 and Beyond. On September 18th, the Fox of Albany will be with us, talking about the Albany Heroes and what they do. September 25th, another more hardcore show, Seven from Florida is going to be with us, talking about human trafficking and what we can do to help fight that. And then on October 2nd, I've got Captain Black going to be joining me, talking about flash mobs, the ups and downs, how we can turn that to our benefit. And
can't wait.
On October 30th, I've got a very special guest I've been trying to get on here for a year. Thanatos the Avenger will be joining me for our Halloween program. So we've got a lot coming up. I'm also going to be trying to reschedule Razorhawk, Apocalypse Meow, and Executive Trick in the next couple of months. So we've always something going on in Superhero Academy. I want to thank everybody for being here and for an excellent show. We've got about a minute left. I'm going to go ahead and hit our closing theme again, and we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for being here. Showstopper, I wanted to thank you for being here. Thank you, noise. But I apologize for that. Thank you out of here. Have a great day, and I will see you next week.
We're men in light. We roam around the forest looking for light. We're men in time. We run from the rich and the people's right.